Oh, about to pick my nose. Oh, okay. So I'm going to be reviewing two movies today. The first one will be The Color Out of Space, starring Nicolas Cage. He's pretty much the only known name in the film. Um, Not to say that the other characters didn't put out a decent performance. I'm sorry, but that's the only name. Uh, that's the biggest name in the film. And then the next one is The Gentleman. Wow. So let's start with The Color Out of Space. First of all, this movie has it's a smaller it's a smaller um uh, production. Yes, a smaller production. So that means I had to kind of I had to like do a lot to watch this movie. I basically it's like I had to swim from one island to another, do smoke signals, sign language, beg, borrow, and steal to even watch this movie. I mean, it's not that bad, but I'm saying it's not in the major movie theater chains. But I like that because you're gonna get a different feel from it. It's not gonna be your run of the mill. It's not gonna be your run of the mill love story. Or I take that back. I take that back. I take that back. Take that back. I'll tell you why. Because I kind of went down a rabbit hole in this movie when I found. I think they say it in the beginning of the movie. Actually, it's adapted from the short story by some guy named Lovecraft or whatever. Who's it? It's a short story, huh? I'm in the audiobooks. Let me. I wonder if I can find it. I was kind of like on. It's kind of like, well, I don't really want to do it. I shouldn't look up the book, but I found the book, and it was only about an hour and 20, something like that, of read time. So I'm like, uh, because of my job, I'm a professional driver. I know drive a truck. So to get to my first stop, it's about 45 minutes of driving. Okay, I'm not that good with math, but hey, that's most of the hour and 20 minutes, right? So from there, the next stop would have been at another hour. So I have 2 hours. So, and basic math tells you hour and 20 is less than 2 hours. So I can listen to the short story too. So, but I watched the movie first. I tell you that after I went down that maybe want to go down the rabbit hole because I was so interested in how the story was changed. I'm trying my hardest not to give away anything, but I will say this: if 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 you like movies, then it won't hurt you to watch this movie. It's not a terrible movie. It's not a terrible movie. Of course, the movie by itself, aside from the book, it doesn't do a great job. Some things are kind of like you try to turn it into a horror film, but I don't really think it was actually. I don't know. I think it's weird because it's not like normal horror, but there's been a lot of that going on in the past few years. Like what It Follows and oh god, I'm spacing on the other movies. It Follows, and I think is a Quiet Place. I think that was pretty good. Um, Damn, I'm actually forgetting these movies that I like, but they don't rely on jump scares alone. It's not like you're not walking down the alley and it's like, oh, they don't rely on that in order for it to be considered horror, or they don't rely on one person or a group of people just going around doing horrible things to other people and other things for it to be horror. It's more of an emotional. You have to get emotionally invested into the story in order to be scared. Now, okay, that's a lot. Now, let's get back to the movie. So when I saw Nicolas Cage, and I was interested in that, but it started out. I mean, to tell you the truth, it started out really corny. It's like so the story is based on a farm. There is a father, a daughter, a wife, and 2 sons. So it's a family of 5. My math. The 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, and the mother and the father. Okay, so the mother has cancer. It's not a big secret. She's a survivor of cancer. The daughter's into like witchcraft. Would he be the middle son, or was he older than her? I don't know if he was older or younger than her. But one of the sons is a pothead for some reason, and then the youngest son is just a little kid. And may I say, he puts in like one of the best performances. Just his look. His look alone does so much for the movie. Like, without him being able to say too much and like basically be too much of an actor, his appearance with his glasses and his stares and even his silence in certain scenes is really great acting. Just stand there. You could mess that up. Now, you could mess that up. They say, hey, if the director says just stand there on your mark and don't do nothing, you can stand there on your mark and not have the right look. But he has the right look for that role. The mother, I remember I seen her in something else, but I couldn't. I did go down a rabbit hole and try to see what else I saw her in, but it seems like she had a career mostly in TV and maybe a few movies, but I can't remember. I can't recall her. Of course, Nicolas Cage with his crazy self. He played it really well, actually. The beginning of the movie, he's sane. So it's based on a farm, family of 5. I'm going to go ahead and say this before I start talking anymore. There's a lot of little things because I did listen to the book. I listened to the audio book. It's a short story, so I listened to the short story, and they changed so much. They changed so much from the book to the movie, but I think they only did that in order to make it more palatable to the consumer, the people that are going to be watching it. But I'm like, the original story is like, I think the original story was written in like 1927 or something like that. It was either 1927 or 1947. Either way, way back when. Okay, way back when. And the story takes place in like, I want to say 1800s or something like this, and they're trying to bring it into the modern world, but they switched too much stuff around, because in the book there is no daughter. They put a daughter in the movie just to create a small love story, and it's like, why would you do that? And this, now mind you, I watched the movie before I listened to the book. The movie made me want to go down the rabbit hole and get fully invested in this story and just try to figure out the origin and where the original story was trying to go. The original story, it wasn't too hard to follow. It was pretty good, but some of the vocabulary, of course, is falling on deaf ears just because of it's a generational thing. Some of that stuff is just like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. You're sitting there lost. But let me continue with the movie. The movie is family of 5 on a farm, mother surviving cancer, the daughter's into witchcraft, the son's a pothead, the little kid's just a kid. I know I said that. I'm just going back to where I was at. So the story's going along. A meteor crashes in their yard. Oh, and that's one thing about this movie. Like the colors that are emitted from this meteor and the foliage that starts to grow, it's magnificent. It's really beautiful. It's really good to look at. It's eye candy for sure. It's really good to look at. It's like it's not quite pink. It's like a mix between like a hot pink and lavender. It's not necessarily either or. It's like in between those two. It's a really good color choice. Personally, when I'm watching those scenes where the colors being emitted and you see it, and it's like it's kind of peaceful almost. It's really peaceful color. But they tried to, let me go back to the love story. So they tried to create a love story between the little girl and this guy who's a hydrologist, I think he said he was. He's checking the water because the whole thing of the movie was their house was going to be lost to a flood because they're going to dam up a river. They're going to dam up a river, causing that whole area to be flooded out. And before things start going haywire, because eventually after the meteor hits, it contaminates the drinking water, and then it contaminates the drinking water, and then it starts killing stuff. That's where the horror part comes in. I'm not going to give away what happens, but that's one part I really didn't like. Some of the stuff that happened to the family, I didn't really like it. I mean, Nicolas Cage stayed in till basically the end. The daughter was the last one to survive. Yes, people die. It's a horror movie. Get over it. Black guy survives. The black guy is a hydrologist. What was I at? I almost forgot too. What is his name? Cheech or is it Chong? Is it Cheech or is it Chong? I think it's Chong. Cheech Marin. No, it's Chong. Cheech and Chong. He's a guy who's squatting on their property. Okay. He comes in. He's trying to act. I don't know. I'm on the fence about his. I'm undecided. I'm undecided about his performance in that movie. I don't know if it was necessarily good or it was bad. It wasn't great though. I can tell you that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. I'm on the fence about his performance. I mean, they gave it away that I think I saw in a preview of the movie, they gave away that he was in there. Now, if they would have kept that a secret that he was in the movie, then it would have been way better for me anyway. If I hadn't seen that he was in the movie, his unveiling in the movie would have been way better. But he's just he just plays the role of some crazy guy. He's into technology, he likes to smoke a little reefer. He just, he plays his part. He sits back, but I don't think he even smoked in this movie. I think he was just like a holistic healer type person. He was just sitting there chilling, grooving. But they tried to create. I'm all over the place. I know, forgive me, but they tried to create some silly love story between the hydrologist and the daughter. That's one thing I think they rushed it. If they would allow time for each character arc to be built up a little bit more, it would have been a better film. Even with all the changes, it would have been better if they gave more backstory to certain things. Like they met. Okay, she thinks he's cute. Okay, they establish that. But where does this "I want to be with you" come from? They don't show enough of that for it to be like, okay, they like each other. She just said, "Oh, he's cute," and the mother's like, "Oh, you're out there doing this and doing that and showing so much skin and blah blah blah." It's like, Mom, it was like, what is that about? It's horrible. And then I'm trying to think what else was wrong with this movie. Overall, I did enjoy it. I know I jumped all over the place in here, but overall, I enjoyed the movie. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the movie. It's just not the best. I would say it was on its way to being a cult classic. It has that quality, but this is gonna be a true cult classic, where it's not an instant cult classic. So that means it's gonna take a couple years for people to be like, okay, and then people are gonna get really involved in it. Just the color, I'm telling you, just the colors alone do a lot. Like, That whole thing does a lot. And some like the gore, I didn't really like. I didn't really like what happened to the characters. It was just like nasty. It was nasty. Yeah, but like I said, the whole Cheech is it Cheech or is it Chong? Chong put it. I don't know. I'm undecided about his performance. Did it help the film? Yes. And another thing, I think everybody in there did a great job. Like, the little kid didn't have too many lines. Like I said, he didn't have to do nothing. It was just his look that gave so much to the film. Nicolas Cage, he played the part of a square parent really well. And then he just went off into his crazy self. And he played that well. But then again, when you try to, you can't really compare the film to the book. I know it's weird to say that, but they changed so much. They changed so much of it, so much of the movie to try and make it more palatable to a more modern audience and on film. But I think it would have been it actually would have been a way better movie. Like, I know if anybody's watching this that saw that movie, The Witch, now that was good too. That was one of those newer horror films too. That movie was really good. If they would have like put it back in that time period, like in the time period that basically that the book was in, it would have been good. It would have been way better. It would have been way better. And even if they changed one of the kids to a female, even if they did that, it would have been way better if they would have did that. Trying to bring it into the modern times is what killed it, I think. I'm trying to, like, I think the only funny moments because it was a mix, because during the beginning of the film, like the first half before it switched over to the the horror part, it was like really corny, and I'm like, okay, it's missing. It didn't really pick up to a change to the horror, which, yeah, I'm gonna rate it pretty low. That's about all I can say about that movie. The book was decent. The short story, I should say. The short story was decent, but like I say, it's a generational thing. So a lot of that stuff will fall on deaf ears after you're listening to it. You'll be like, okay, I don't get that. But anyway, now let's go to the gentleman. This is the first time I'm going to say the director's name. Guy Ritchie, I think it is. I love this guy's films. I think I've watched... I won't say I watched all of them. That's odd. I can't do that. But I've watched Snatch. I've watched Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Those are some of his earlier works. I think I've watched some more of his more recent stuff. But this film had to grow on me. I'm sitting in the theater, and I'm pretty tired because I just got off work, and I was like, hey, let's go watch this movie. To myself, anyway. Let me go watch this movie. I get in there, I'm watching it, and I'm tired, so I'm not really picking up on anything that's happening in the beginning of the movie. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But I get, like, it's the strangest thing. I get woke up out of my restlessness, and I'm like, what is going on? When I start figuring it out, like, what is going on here? So the majority of the movie, it's so layered. Let me just be the first one to say it's so layered. Not only is it layered in story, but it's layered in actors. There's Matthew McConaughey, there's Colin Farrell, there's Hugh Grant, there's damn, am I forgetting some other people? Ooh, I might be forgetting some actors in this one. There's a guy from Sons of Anarchy, I don't remember his name. I don't think I know any of the female actors outside of this movie. Ooh, yeah. I think those are the biggest names. Damn, I must be forgetting somebody. I think those are the biggest names in the movie. It's insane. It's literally an insane movie. Like, when I was after I had, because I was sleepy. I'm just going to admit that. I was sleepy when I first started watching it, so I'm sitting there kind of dozing off. Not really, but once I started to hear the dialogue, once I started to really, like, I'm sitting there and I closed my eyes for a second because I'm super tired, and the dialogue started to ring in my ear, and I go, that kind of sounds like Quentin Tarantino. So I'm like, let me try to pay attention. Dude, it's so layered, because let me get this out, and then I'll try to break down the movie. So not only is there one person narrating past events, okay, there's also current events happening while he's narrating. All the actors are in and out the shots. The dialogue is so good. They throw in local, or because it's filmed in, I don't know if it's filmed, but it's based in England. So they throw in a lot of that English slang, which is really cool. It's cool because you don't hear it every day. Okay. Oh, and their outfits, dude. Their outfits are on point. Now, I did Google the outfits and tried to figure out. Apparently, they're all handmade pieces designed from whatever. You know, they got the article I read got way too Hollywood for me to enjoy it. I'm like, okay. It's like he got it from a. They said he got those glasses from a unique what is it? A unique eyewear specialist antiquities, and I'm like, man, shut up. It's like, man, he just found some old glasses that look cool. That's way easier than saying what you just said. Just shut up. Damn. But anyway, yeah, the outfits was on point. The story, and it was deceptive too. I'm not gonna give it away how it was deceptive, but it was so deceptive. But the thing I will say, I like movies that end like this. I don't like seeing certain things in movies. If I give that away, if I tell you what I don't like seeing, then I've ruined the whole movie for you. It's worth a watch. I'm telling you. The Gentleman is worth a watch. I'm telling you, dude. Don't get me wrong. It's one of the better movies out right now. I'm telling you, hands down. One of the better movies out right now. I'm not even bullshitting with you. So the story follows Matthew McConaughey, who is a marijuana kingpin of all things, the times we live in. So he's a marijuana kingpin at all things, and he's trying to sell his business. Of course, the guy he's trying to sell it to doesn't want to pay the amount that Matthew's asking. So he does some sneaky, underhanded, backdoor type bullshit to try and get the price reduced. And when he divulges how much he, after everything is really unfolded, and the guy goes to Matthew and tells him how much he really wants to pay, I was like, dude, that's dirty. It's like so the price was like $450 million or something like that, and the dude offered him like $153 million at the end. I was like, what? I was like, man, are you kidding me? I was like, come on, man. Don't do that. That's dirty. After all that stuff you did, but I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm just not gonna do it. It's a really good movie though. Once you sit down and you sort through the language barrier, of course. Once you sit down and sort through the language barrier, of course, because they are English, so even they speak English, they're speaking in different terms and stuff like that. So it's like, oh God. Colin Farrell, if I wasn't holding my phone, I would clap. The minute he came on the screen, he was on fire, and nobody could put him out throughout the whole movie, dude. He was just really good in this movie. Couldn't believe it. I've always liked Colin Farrell as an actor. Matthew McConaughey, wow. You know what? He really was able to take the role. He really He really was like the lead man. Like, you knew he was the lead actor. No bullshit. You knew he was the lead actor. That's how good he was acting. Hugh Grant, isn't he like from... Isn't he famous for doing a whole bunch of love movies? He played this role very well. It's believable. I've been trying to get this point across. To people I talk to or individuals who ask my opinion on movies. I've been trying to get this point across forever. What makes a good movie for me is if it's believable. If I can get completely immersed in that movie and think I'm actually there, but of course, you know what I mean. Not like I'm part of the movie, but think I'm actually watching it from the sidelines as it's happening. That's what makes a good movie to me. That's what I like to see. This one is just like that. The way the story is being narrated and the way the story is unfolding is so well done. And on top of that, the crazy thing about it, he's narrating the movie. He's narrating the story that's being told in the movie as it was a screenplay. Do you get how complex and layered that is? That's unbelievable. He actually puts down a script for a screenplay. A screenplay. He actually puts a screenplay script. He puts a movie script down and is telling his story to the guy from Sons of Anarchy. You're gonna see Hugh Grant and the guy from Sons. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. I didn't really like him as an actor in Sons of Anarchy. He was kind of like whatever. But in this, it's actually pretty good. He's decent. I'll say that. He still has his go-to acting stuff. Like, some actors have their go-to things that they do all the time, and it's like, why are you doing that? Stop that. He lifts his chin up and takes a deep breath and lets his nose flare out. That's his go-to move for anything when he's trying to emphasize anger or something like that. It's like, oh God. But I'm almost exhausted talking about that movie. It's worth a watch. I'm going to rate this very high. I don't want to say too much about the movie because I'm going to give it away. That's another thing. That's part of the experience of going to the movies, is who's in the audience with you and just watching it unfold in front of your eyes. Everybody has different tastes, but I think The Gentleman is a very good movie. And the ladies play their part too. There's an Asian actor. There's a couple Asian actors in there. They show up and show out too. It's a really good film. I don't want to say too much because then I'll just give it away and it'd be like spoilers. But see, the thing about it is, it's not about spoiling the movie. It's about, like I say, you have to watch it unfold for yourself, and you have to judge. If you want to, you have to be able to go and judge this movie for yourself. You can't go off what I say, because my taste and whoever's watching this taste may not be aligned. That's all I'm saying. It's a great movie. It's worth a watch. Till next week.